Dear Greg, my 8-year-old brother Louis keeps coming into my room and messing with my stuff, and I'm sick of it. Yesterday, he actually brought one of his friends into my room with him, and they sprayed my perfume on each other, went through my underwear drawer, and even read parts of my journal. I feel so violated I could scream. I've yelled at him and even hit him, which I know isn't the best thing. I've talked to my parents, and they've talked to him too, but that hasn't seemed to make any difference. This can't keep happening. What can I do here?
It's pretty obvious that Louis does not respect your property or your privacy. And this is not a small matter, because if he doesn't respect yours, it's not a big stretch to conclude that he doesn't respect the property or privacy of other people either. Somebody needs to help him, teach him, because if Louis keeps this kind of behavior up, it's likely to get him into big trouble in time. I'm trying to get you to recognize here that in addition to stopping him from violating your rights, we need to help Louis. He has a real problem. So, what can you do? First, realize that Louis is not primarily to blame here. I understand that he looks like the villain because he's the one who's rooting like a disgusting pig through your underwear drawer. But the behavior of an 8-year-old is usually a result of what he's been trained to do, or at least allowed to do. Like you said, he keeps coming in your room. And if your parents had stepped in when he first did this and applied sufficient consequences for his behavior, he would not have continued behaving in this way. So, if I were to be pointing a finger of responsibility anywhere, I'd be pointing it at your parents, who don't really seem to care enough about what's happening here to do something strong enough to make a difference. Many parents do this. When a child is a lot of trouble, they just throw up their hands and say, "Oh, what can we do?" They're pretty weak. If you really understand what I just said, that Louis is behaving like this because your parents have allowed it, possibly even trained him to behave in this way, then you won't be nearly as irritated at him. If your parents have had a huge hand in making him this way, then you can hardly blame him for being like this, right? So, cut the kid some slack. Your goal here is to do what it takes to modify his behavior, not to blame him and be angry at him, which will only make things worse. I also suggest that you not be overly eager to blame your parents here either. I'm offering the explanation about your parents' role here only so you'll understand your brother's behavior better. Understanding your parents' role of responsibility is different from blaming. It's a difference in attitude. I would not suggest that you walk up to your parents now and say, "Dr. Bear says this is all your fault." Now, that's mostly true, actually, but if you do that, they're not likely to hear a single word of the rest of what you have to tell them about how we might change Louis's behavior. So, lighten up with the blaming, and let's concentrate on what we can do to actually solve the problem. And we'll talk about that in our next session.